Hi everyone! So it's time to talk about the book I've been reading this week, and this week it was Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. That's written, well, to say, co-written with Jane Austen and Seth Grahame-Smith. This is a reread for me. I read this originally when it came out in paperback, which was quite some time ago. I think it must have been about, 2009 was when I read this, and I haven't read it since. So it was very interesting picking it up again to reread, but even though I hadn't read it since, I remembered a hell of a lot of the stories of the various events and such that happened with the attacks of the zombies and everything in this. And I talked about it quite a bit in the film review video that I did earlier this year. I'll put the link to the film review in the description of this video rather than talk about the adaptation again. So yeah, save your time, just click on the link and you can see my thoughts about the film. Okay, so let's talk about this book. So basically, Seth Grahame-Smith has taken the story of Pride and Prejudice and integrated some really great zombie stories and attacks and such into it. Now, what I love about this, I love Jane Austen. I absolutely love Pride and Prejudice. It's my favourite one of her books. And when I saw this in paperback, I didn't hear about the initial release of it. I just saw when it came out in paperback because the shop I went into, there was like an entire wall dedicated to it. And I just thought, oh, this is really interesting. I love Pride and Prejudice. I love zombies, zombie-esque films and TV shows. Therefore, I think I'm going to like this. And I picked it up and I absolutely loved it. But there are other people who love Jane Austen who absolutely hate it. And I can understand why, because it's delving it into an aspect which, of course, Jane Austen didn't go into at all, zombies and all that lot. It puts the actual book itself, as you can see, it's quite thin. It's only just over 300 pages, so in comparison to the actual Pride and Prejudice, a lot of areas have just been condensed down. Conversations have, instead of just being reduced to like a paragraph of text rather than having the full concept, that kind of thing. So it has condensed it to a lesser amount than what Jane Austen wrote. But as I said, Seth Grahame-Smith has put in this really great zombie storyline into it. Now, the actual story itself, as you can tell, covers the story of Pride and Prejudice, which is the Bennet family, the 5 Bennet sisters, whose mother is absolutely obsessed with them getting married to rich husbands. And the main character is Lizzie Bennet. She's the second of the 5 daughters, and her relationship with a man called Mr. Darcy. And it's, you've still got Regency, you've still got all of, that great story, but you've got a new twist on it, a new angle. And you're told that the Bennet sisters were sent to China to do their training. Everybody in Regency time in this story, because of the zombie apocalypse and everything, have gone to Japan to do fighting. But the Bennets went to China instead. They're lower in life because of status and that, because of the fact that they're not wealthy, but also they're looked down upon because they went to China, not Japan, to do their training. It's a very funny thing that they're looked down upon for. And they're really great fighters, the girls. They're absolutely fantastic, some of the best fighters in the country, but because of their status, they're not really looked at, by various other men. So Mrs. Bennet is absolutely determined to get them married off. And so, it follows a story of Pride and Prejudice, but you have, as I said, the zombie twist to it. You're told also, relatively early on, that something happened to cause the dead to rise. And if you're bitten by, scratched or something by a zombie, you will turn into one of them, the undead, as they're referred to. Now, we're not told exactly how it began, and these books, because this was so popular, they also did they've 2 other books related to the Pride and Prejudice world. I think they're both prequels, but I haven't read either of them, as you can tell, because I'm not sure. But it is something I think, because now rereading it, it sparked my interest again. I think I would like to pick them up and read them. They also did Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters. That one wasn't as good, I have to say. I was a bit disappointed with that one. But it's also spun off this whole range of new, this interest of putting twists on classic literature. So you had, the Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, Jane Eyre Vampire Hunter, Anna Karenina was turned into Android Karenina, stuff like this. So that it sparked this new range of books that have come out since that have been very, very popular. So the original has got to be good in order to spark that whole new genre, well, not whole new genre, but whole new angle of genre of horror to in the horror world of literature. So I think that tells you how good this is. What I love about this especially is that the actual attacks of the zombies and that, it is not the key emphasis on the story, whereas the film version, that is the key emphasis. That's really irritated me about the film. Again, look to my video to hear more about that. Also, yeah, it keeps to the story of Pride and Prejudice. It puts new angles on Pride and Prejudice. I love the fact that there's a storyline with Charlotte and Mr. Collins, why she chooses to marry him, why Mr. Darcy drew Mr. Bingley away from Jane, why the family are the way they are, they're how they see the world, because their training is slightly different than everybody else's training of zombies and such. Mr. Darcy's interest in Lizzie, I think, is a bit more interesting, with the zombie angle and everything. And I love how there's this whole bit where they talk about her body shape and how muscular her arms are from her fighting and all that lot. But it's not too muscular. It's feminine muscle that's suitable for him, that he quite likes, that he's drawn to. There's all of these little things in it that are so compelling. So brilliantly written, and the way some of the time you don't even see it coming, what's gonna, the descriptions and everything, they just come out of the blue sometimes. And I love even the fact that the first line, and it's on the back of the book, says, "It's a truth universally acknowledged that a zombie in possession of brains must be in want of more brains." It's like, how, for that to be your opening line, that just puts a big tick for me. I absolutely love it. And also mixed in with the text are some illustrations. There's not many of them, but they're absolutely fantastic, and it gives you a detailed understanding of the world that they live in. And for example, here's one. It's quite gruesome, as you can guess, because it's zombies. But this is the Netherfield Ball, where famously Darcy and Lizzie dance together, which of course they do in this as well. Mr. Bingley comes to them after the end of the dance and asks Darcy to come with him to help him, and Lizzie tags along, and they discover that zombies have come into the kitchen, and they have attacked and killed the kitchen staff. And if you can see there, you've got a lovely picture of a zombie ripping out one guy's guts. You got another lady here who's been killed, and another one, you just see the legs there. Oh yeah, and there's a guy right there at the back who's been taken as well. So as you can see, there's it's really quite gory, really quite gruesome, but very very effective in making you understand the world. The thing that really I found so interesting, and I still do in the reread, how natural it feels for the text of Jane Austen to suddenly go into a zombie attack. It's so strange. Seth has written this. Seth Grahame-Smith, the co-writer with Jane Austen, he's a brilliant writer. How he's interweaved this story, and it just feels like second nature. That it's perfectly understandable to to see these these zombies that are just walking around, and how they get upset when they find out that somebody's been bitten, someone's been taken, who's passed away, and such. How they are constantly, instead of sewing and reading and such, which still, a lady should do to be able to get the interest of men. They're also cleaning guns and practicing fighting on each other and such. So it's very engrossing. I just love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Rereading it this week has been so much fun. I've really thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's very strange because at the beginning of this week, I don't know if it's just because I was having stuff going on at work and such. For the first 2 days this week, literally, I felt like I couldn't pick up this book. I don't know what it was. Maybe I'd hit reader's block, or as I said, because I was I was so hectic with work and stuff. I just felt like my mind, I couldn't latch onto it, and then all of a sudden, I think when on Wednesday, I just felt I needed to read. I'd had 2 days without reading, and I needed to read, and I needed to have this break in my head from all the stuff that I've been dealing with for the past 2 days. So I picked up, and I just couldn't put it down. I think it was kind of a godsend week kind of thing that I got this. But I absolutely love it. I love Darcy and Lizzie's relationship. It has, with the zombie stuff, it puts another level of complexity on this whole situation and life and death, and how he views Lizzie, how he appreciates her, how he comes to understand her and her mind. And it's absolutely fantastic, like with the proposal scene, because famously Darcy proposes, Lizzie tells him to go away, and obviously then their relationship, that's about halfway through the book, and then the relationship progresses further from that. And in that scene, she is so angry with him, she starts punching him and kicking him, and beating him as much as she can, and he starts fighting back to defend himself. And it's like interweaving that into the Jane Austen's absolutely fantastic dialogue is just brilliant. I love it. As I said, some people in the Jane Austen fandom love it, like me. Some absolutely hate it. I totally understand why, because it's not Jane Austen, it's not period. But to take a classic and put a twist on it, I think that's brilliant, and I just absolutely love it. The film, however, that's a completely different story. They took so much out. They put in this huge storyline that was a big emphasis that isn't even in the book at all. It was just because I'd done a video just about the film version literally as soon as I got home from watching it. I haven't rewatched it this week. But even saying that, I thought, I'd go on YouTube and watch some clips and just refresh my mind. And as soon as I started watching it, I was just thinking, no, this isn't right. Even the trailer, this is wrong. It's too much of an emphasis on the fighting, too much of the sexiness of ripping your dress open and pulling out a dagger from a belt, and it took it to a level that it really didn't need to. But I think the reason why they did that was just to sex it up and do it that way. I can't understand why the film felt it had to go to that level when it really wasn't necessary. But anyway, you can watch my other video. As I said, I put in the link to in this description to for you to view, so you can see what my rant about it when I got home from watching it. I think it was probably about 6 months or so ago now. But yeah, so overall, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, I really love it. I think, if you're a Jane Austen fan, you'll either love it or you'll hate it. It's a Marmite book. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. But I think if somebody hasn't read Austen before but is really interested in like zombies and stuff like that, I'd say go for this. Give it a go. You won't lose anything, and you might be you might find that you really, really love it and go on to read you know, books such as that. But as I said, Sensibility and Sea Monsters, I wasn't that impressed by that. That one's a bit weird. But anyway, if you want to give that one a go, then do. But anyway, I'm going to stop there. So, have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think of it. You can leave me a comment in the comment box below, or if you want to, you can show me what you thought of it another way. You can give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, entirely up to you. Sorry, I said to do. But I'd love to know what you think. And yeah, I will be back soon as usual with another video announcing what book I'm going to be reading for the next week. All right then, bye.